I stared at my phone screen, scrolling through the photos. Everyone was there. Everyone except me. "We didn't think you'd be interested," my former best friend Amanda had texted when I finally asked. "You were always so busy with your little projects." Little projects. That's what they called the 16-hour days I spent building something from nothing while they were out partying every weekend. The reunion was happening tonight. Our 5-year high school reunion. I was 26 years old, and apparently I wasn't worth a simple invitation. I could see them all in the photos from the planning meetings. The same people who used to mock me in the hallways. Amanda, who told everyone I'd end up alone. Derek, who laughed when I said I wanted to start my own business. Jessica, who called me broke girl because I wore the same jeans twice a week. They were all smiling in front of the Grand Riverside Hotel, the fanciest venue in town. My hands were shaking as I kept scrolling. There was a comment from Amanda. "Can't wait for tonight. The sponsors really went all out. Free everything. Sponsors." The word made my stomach turn. I looked at the invitation list that someone had accidentally posted in their story. 43 names. 43 people who made my high school years a living hell, and they were all invited. All except me. "You weren't part of our crowd anyway," Derek had commented on one post. I felt that familiar burning in my throat. That same feeling I had when they laughed at my dreams. When they made me eat lunch alone in the bathroom. When they destroyed my science project the day before the fair. But something else was burning inside me now. Something stronger than hurt. I opened my laptop and checked my emails. There it was. The sponsorship contract for the Grand Riverside Hotel event tonight. The one my assistant had handled last month. The same reunion that forgot to invite me was being paid for by my company. I picked up my phone and called my driver. "Get the car ready," I said quietly. "We're going to the Grand Riverside Hotel tonight." Will they recognize the girl they used to mock? The Grand Riverside Hotel lobby was exactly as I remembered it. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and the kind of elegance that screamed money. I walked in wearing a simple black dress and heels. Nothing flashy. I didn't need flash anymore. My heart was pounding as I approached the ballroom entrance. I could hear the music, the laughter, the clinking of glasses. All of it paid for by the company they didn't know I owned. "Name, please?" The receptionist asked with a polite smile. "I'm not on the list," I said calmly. "But I'm here representing the event sponsor." Her eyes widened slightly. "Oh, of course. Please go right in. The sponsors have VIP access to everything." I stepped through those doors and time seemed to slow down. The ballroom was decorated beautifully. A live band played in the corner. Tables were filled with expensive catered food. An open bar sparkled with top-shelf bottles. My money had paid for all of it. And there they were. Amanda stood near the center, holding court like she always did. Her dress probably cost more than my entire high school wardrobe. Jessica was laughing too loud at something, champagne in hand. Derek was already drunk, his tie loose around his neck. Nobody looked my way. Not at first. I grabbed a glass of champagne from a passing waiter and took a slow sip. I wanted to remember this moment. The moment before everything changed. "Oh my God," I heard someone whisper. "Is that—" "No, it can't be." Amanda turned. Our eyes met across the room. I watched the recognition dawn on her face. Then the confusion. Then something that looked almost like fear. "What is she doing here?" Jessica's voice cut through the music. The room was starting to notice. Conversations were dropping off. Heads were turning. Derek stumbled toward me, that same mocking smile from high school plastered on his face. "Well, well, well," he slurred. "Look who decided to crash the party." "Did you sneak in through the kitchen?" I didn't move. Didn't react. Just held his gaze with a calm I didn't know I possessed. Amanda was now walking toward me, her heels clicking against the marble floor. That fake smile she always wore was firmly in place. "This is a private event," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "For invited guests only." The entire room was watching now, waiting to see me humiliated again. I took another sip of my champagne. "I know," I replied softly. "That's why I'm here." What will happen when they learn the truth? Amanda's perfectly painted smile faltered for just a second. "Then you need to leave," she said, crossing her arms. Security can escort you out if necessary. The crowd was forming a circle around us now. I could see their faces. The same faces that watched me get bullied and did nothing. Some looked uncomfortable. Most looked entertained. This was their show. Their moment to watch the weird girl get humiliated one more time. Derek laughed loudly. Come on, Amanda. Let her stay for a minute. I want to hear what she's been up to. Still living in that tiny apartment with your mom? My mother had passed away 2 years ago. But he didn't know that. He didn't know anything about my life. I heard she tried to start some business. Jessica chimed in, walking closer. How did that work out? Still broke? The laughter rippled through the crowd. That casual cruelty that came so easily to them. I remained silent, letting them have their moment. This is actually sad, Amanda said, shaking her head with fake pity. You couldn't let go of high school, could you? You had to crash our reunion because you have nothing else in your life. Someone call security, Derek announced dramatically. Get this trash out of our event. I watched a security guard approaching from the corner of my eye. A large man in a black suit, looking uncomfortable. But before he could reach me, the ballroom doors opened. My executive assistant, Marcus, walked in. 35 years old, sharp suit, carrying a tablet and briefcase. He scanned the room until his eyes found me. Ms. Patterson, he said loudly, his voice cutting through the whispers. I apologize for being late. The contracts needed your signature. The room went completely silent. Marcus walked straight to me, ignoring everyone else. The hotel manager is asking if the event is meeting your expectations. Should I tell him everything is satisfactory? Amanda's face had gone pale. Who are you? Derek demanded, stepping between Marcus and me. Marcus didn't even look at him. His eyes stayed on me, waiting for instructions. Actually, I said slowly, I have some concerns about how our sponsorship funds are being utilized. Sponsorship? Jessica's voice cracked. What are you talking about? I watched the realization start to dawn on their faces, one by one. Amanda was shaking her head. No, that's not possible. Marcus pulled out his tablet. Patterson Industries has sponsored this entire event. The venue, catering, entertainment, open bar, everything. Would you like me to review the expense report? How much did they spend thinking it was free? The silence in that ballroom was deafening. Amanda's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Jessica had gone completely white. Derek just stood there, his drunk confidence evaporating. That's impossible, Amanda finally whispered. Patterson Industries that's a multi-million-dollar company. $8 million in revenue last year, Marcus said casually, scrolling through his tablet. Projected to hit 12 this year. I took another sip of my champagne, letting the moment sink in. You? Derek's voice was barely audible. You own Patterson Industries? The company name had been all over the invitations, all over the banners hanging in the ballroom. They'd been celebrating with my money all night and didn't even realize it. This has to be a joke, Jessica said, her voice getting shrill. She's lying. She's always been a liar. I have the contracts right here, Marcus said, turning his tablet around. Signed 3 weeks ago. $60,000 in total sponsorship. $60,000. I watched that number hit them like a physical blow. Why would you sponsor our reunion if you weren't even invited? Amanda asked, and for the first time, she sounded genuinely confused instead of cruel. I didn't know it was your reunion, I said simply. My assistant handles most sponsorship requests. I just sign off on local events that meet our community involvement criteria. It was the truth. I'd been so busy with expansion plans that I hadn't even looked at the event details. Just saw high school reunion and approved it. The irony was almost poetic. So you're saying, Derek said slowly, that we've been drinking your booze, eating your food, in your venue, while planning to kick you out? That about sums it up, Marcus replied coldly. The crowd was murmuring now. I could feel the shift in energy. The embarrassment spreading through them like wildfire. Amanda's face had turned red. We didn't know! How were we supposed to know? You could have invited me, I said quietly. Then you would have known. Those words hung in the air like a verdict. Jessica stepped forward, her hands shaking. Look, this is just a misunderstanding. We can fix this. You should stay, join us. Now she's invited, Derek added quickly. Right, Amanda? Amanda nodded frantically. Of course. We want you here. We always did. But do they really want her or just her money? I looked at their desperate faces and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just emptiness. We made a mistake, Amanda said, her voice taking on that sweet tone she used when she wanted something. Come on, let's start over. Have a drink with us. The same people who mocked me, who made me feel worthless, who excluded me deliberately. Now they wanted me to join their party. Yeah, Jessica added, forcing a laugh. We can catch up. Tell us about your company. That's so amazing. Amazing. The same woman who called me broke girl now thought my success was amazing. Derek was nodding enthusiastically, his earlier hostility completely gone. I always knew you'd do something big, remember? I always said you were smart. The lies came so easily to them. I set my champagne glass down on a nearby table. The sound echoed in the quiet ballroom. No, thank you, I said simply. Amanda's smile froze. What? I said no, thank you. I don't want to stay. But you came all the way here, Jessica stammered. I came to check on my investment, I replied. And I've seen enough. Marcus was watching me carefully, waiting for instructions. He knew me well enough to know something was coming. The crowd was pressing closer now. Everyone wanted to hear this conversation. Some looked guilty. Most just looked curious. Wait, Amanda said, grabbing my arm. Her perfectly manicured nails dug into my skin. You can't just leave. This is our reunion. I looked down at her hand on my arm, then back at her face. Let go of me, I said quietly. She didn't move. Amanda, let her go, someone from the crowd said. I didn't see who. No! Amanda's voice was rising now. She's trying to ruin everything. She shows up here uninvited, makes this scene, and now she wants to leave? Who does she think she is? She's the person who paid for your entire event, Marcus said coldly. And you're assaulting her. Amanda dropped my arm like it was on fire. I could see the panic in her eyes now. Real panic. She was realizing how badly she'd miscalculated. I'm sorry, she whispered. Please, don't leave like this. I looked around at all of them, these people who made my life hell, now begging for my approval. Do you know why I built my company? I asked, my voice steady. Why I worked 16-hour days while you were all out having fun? Nobody answered. It wasn't for money. It wasn't for revenge. I paused, letting the tension build. It was so I would never have to care what people like you think of me again. What will she do with the power she now holds? The words hit them like a slap. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. That's not fair, she said, her voice breaking. We were kids. We all did stupid things in high school. You excluded me from this reunion 3 weeks ago, I replied. We're not kids anymore. Jessica was crying now, too. Please, just give us another chance. We can make this right. I turned to Marcus. How much has been consumed so far? Food, drinks, entertainment? He checked his tablet. Approximately $42,000. The crowd gasped. Some people were recording on their phones now. This would be all over social media by morning. And how much is left in the contract? $18,000 for the remaining hours of the event. I nodded slowly, thinking. Derek stepped forward, looking more sober now. Look, we screwed up. Badly. But canceling the event? That hurts everyone here, not just us. He wasn't wrong. There were 43 people in this room. Not all of them had been cruel to me. Some had just been bystanders. Silent but not actively mean. Please, Amanda begged. Don't punish everyone because of us. Before I could respond, the ballroom doors opened again. An older man walked in. Gray hair, expensive suit, confident stride. He looked around the room with sharp, intelligent eyes. I'm sorry I'm late, he announced to everyone. Traffic was terrible. He walked straight toward our group, smiling. Then his eyes landed on me and his smile grew wider. There she is, he said warmly. Sarah Patterson. I've been trying to reach you all week. I stared at him, confused. I had no idea who this man was. I'm Robert Chen, he said, extending his hand. We met briefly at the Business Leaders Conference last month. You probably don't remember me. I shook his hand, still confused. I'm sorry, I meet a lot of people at those events. Of course, he said, waving dismissively. But I remember you. Your presentation on sustainable business practices was brilliant. Amanda was watching this interaction with growing horror. Are you here for the reunion? I asked carefully. Reunion? He looked around, seeming to notice the decorations for the first time. Oh, is this a high school thing? No. I'm here because my daughter invited me. He turned and called out, Melissa, come here, sweetheart. A young woman emerged from the crowd. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. Dad, what are you doing? She asked, looking embarrassed. Melissa Chen was in your class, wasn't she? Robert asked me. I suddenly remembered her. The quiet girl who sat in the back and never spoke. Who is Melissa, and why is her father here? Melissa's face turned red as everyone stared at her. Dad, please, she whispered. Not now. But Robert wasn't paying attention to her discomfort. He was looking at Amanda, Derek, and Jessica with an expression of growing displeasure. Melissa told me what happened, he said, his voice losing its warmth. How you people treated Sarah in high school. And apparently you didn't even invite her tonight? Mr. Chen, this is a private matter, Amanda said, trying to sound authoritative. Private? Robert laughed, but there was no humor in it. My daughter came home crying after the planning meeting because she suggested inviting Sarah and you three shot her down. Said it would ruin the vibe. Melissa looked like she wanted to disappear. Is that true? I asked, looking at her. She nodded miserably. I tried. I really did. But they said you probably wouldn't come anyway. We didn't think she'd want to come, Jessica said defensively. She hated high school. I wonder why, Robert said dryly. He turned back to me. Sarah, I actually came here tonight hoping to run into you. I wanted to discuss a potential partnership between your company and mine. Chen Technology Solutions? My heart skipped. Chen Technology was massive. One of the biggest tech firms on the West Coast. You want to partner with Patterson Industries? I asked, not quite believing it. Your supply chain management software is exactly what we need for our expansion. I was going to call your office Monday, but when Melissa mentioned you might be here, he shrugged. I thought I'd make it personal. The room was absolutely silent now. Amanda looked like she might faint. Derek was staring at Robert like he'd grown a second head. Jessica had stopped crying and was just frozen in shock. That's a conversation I'd be very interested in having, I said carefully. Excellent, Robert beamed. Why don't we step out to the hotel bar? Quieter there. We can discuss terms. Dad, Melissa said softly. I think Sarah was just leaving. Robert looked at me questioningly. I glanced at Marcus, who gave me the smallest nod. This was a real opportunity. Possibly the biggest of my career. Actually, Amanda interrupted desperately. Sarah was just agreeing to stay. Weren't you? Was I? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Please, she said, and now the tears were definitely real. I'm begging you. Don't leave. Stay at the reunion. We want you here. You want my money here, I corrected. There's a difference. Derek stepped forward. Look, we were horrible to you. In high school and tonight. We don't deserve your forgiveness. But everyone else here? He gestured to the crowd. They don't deserve to have their night ruined. Maybe they should have thought about that when they stood by and watched you torture me for 4 years, I said, my voice finally rising. The room flinched. Will she forgive them or walk away forever? Robert Chen put a gentle hand on my shoulder. You have every right to be angry, he said quietly. But may I offer some advice? I nodded, not trusting my voice. Don't let them take any more from you than they already have, he said. You've built something incredible. You're about to build something even bigger. Don't give them the power to make you bitter. His words hit harder than I expected. Melissa stepped closer. Sarah, I know I don't have the right to ask anything from you. I was a coward in high school. I watched them hurt you, and I said nothing because I was afraid they'd turn on me next. Her voice was shaking. But I need to tell you something. Something you deserve to know. Amanda's face went pale. Melissa, don't. They need to hear this, Melissa said, her voice stronger now. She turned to face the crowd. Senior year, Sarah was nominated for valedictorian. She had the highest grades in our class, but Amanda's mother was on the school board. My stomach dropped. I remembered that. I'd been so confused when they announced Amanda as valedictorian instead of me. Amanda's mom paid off the vice principal, Melissa continued. She had him change the rankings. Sarah should have been valedictorian, but they stole it from her. The room exploded in whispers. That's a lie, Amanda screamed. You can't prove that. Actually, Melissa said, pulling out her phone, I can. The vice principal is my uncle. He told me everything last year when he was dying. He felt guilty. He recorded a confession. She held up her phone. It's all here. Every detail, including the $10,000 Amanda's mother paid him. Amanda lunged at Melissa, but Derek caught her arm. Let me go, Amanda shrieked. She's lying. This is all lies. Is it? Robert asked coldly. Because that sounds like fraud. And bribery, both of which are serious crimes even years later. I stood frozen. Valedictorian. That scholarship I lost. The opportunities that vanished. All because Amanda's mother bought her a title she didn't earn. Sarah, Melissa said, turning to me, I have copies. I can send them to you. To a lawyer. To the school board. Whatever you want. My hands were trembling. This was bigger than a high school reunion. This was justice. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because I'm tired of being a coward, she said simply. And because you deserve to know the truth. Jessica was backing away slowly. I didn't know about that. I swear I didn't know. But you knew about everything else, I said quietly. You knew what you were doing to me every single day. I looked at Amanda, who was crying hysterically now, and felt absolutely nothing. Marcus, I said calmly. Cancel the rest of the event. Shut down the bar. Stop the catering. What will happen when everything comes crashing down? Marcus nodded and immediately started making calls. No, please. Jessica grabbed my arm. People traveled for this. Some people came from across the country. Then they wasted their money, I said, pulling my arm free. Just like I wasted 4 years of my life being tortured by all of you. The hotel manager appeared, looking nervous. Marcus spoke to him quietly, showing him something on his tablet. The manager's eyes widened, then he nodded and hurried away. Within minutes, the music stopped. The bartenders began closing down. Waiters started clearing tables. You can't do this, Derek shouted. This is insane! I'm the sponsor, I said simply. I can do whatever I want. Amanda collapsed into a chair, sobbing. My life is over. If that recording gets out, my mother will go to jail. I'll lose everything. Now you know how it feels, I said coldly. Robert was watching me carefully. Sarah, what do you want to do about the recording? It was a good question. I held all the cards now. I could destroy Amanda's entire family with one phone call to the police. The crowd was leaving now, angry and confused. Some were throwing dirty looks at Amanda. Others were looking at me like I was a monster. This is too far, someone muttered as they walked past. She's worse than they were, another voice said. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was becoming exactly what I hated. Melissa was still standing there, phone in hand, waiting for my decision. Send me the recording, I told her. She nodded and started typing on her phone. Seconds later, mine buzzed with the file. Amanda looked up at me, mascara running down her face. What are you going to do? I opened the audio file. Pressed play. An old man's voice filled the quiet ballroom. My name is Richard Martinez. I was vice principal at Riverside High School from 2012 to 2019. In May 2018, I accepted a bribe of $10,000 from Catherine Morrison to alter the valedictorian rankings. The confession continued for 2 minutes. Every detail, every transaction, everything. When it finished, the silence was absolute. That scholarship I lost, I said quietly, was for $50,000. It was going to pay for my entire college education. Instead, I worked 3 jobs and took out loans I just finished paying off last year. I'm sorry, Amanda whispered. I didn't know she did that. I swear. You knew something was wrong, I said. You knew your grades weren't better than mine. But you took it anyway because you always take what you want. Robert cleared his throat. Sarah, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think you should know something. I turned to him. The business partnership I mentioned? It's worth $20 million over 3 years, he said carefully. $20 million? More money than I'd ever imagined. But I need to know something first, Robert continued. What kind of person are you, really? The choice that will define everything comes next. I looked at Robert Chen, then at Amanda, then at the recording on my phone. What kind of person am I? I repeated softly. I thought about the girl I used to be, eating lunch in bathroom stalls, crying herself to sleep, dreaming of the day she'd be free. I thought about the woman I'd become. Strong, successful, finally free. I'm the kind of person who doesn't need revenge, I said finally. Amanda's head snapped up. But I'm also not the kind of person who pretends the past didn't happen, I continued. Melissa, thank you for the recording. I'm keeping it. Not to destroy anyone, but as a reminder. A reminder of what? Robert asked. That some people will do anything to keep others down. And that I'll never be one of those people. I turned to Amanda. I'm not going to the police. Your mother's crime is between her and her conscience. But I'm also not going to pretend we're friends now. I looked at the empty ballroom. Marcus, restore the event. Let them have their reunion. Sarah, Amanda started. I'm not doing this for you, I said firmly. I'm doing it because I'm not cruel. That's the difference between us. I turned to Robert. Let's discuss that partnership. In the hotel bar? He smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. As I walked toward the doors with Robert, Melissa, and Marcus, I heard Amanda whisper behind me. Thank you. I didn't turn around. Outside in the hallway, Robert said, That took real character. It took letting go, I corrected. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You're better than all of us. Always were. Derek. I deleted it without responding. Some bridges aren't worth rebuilding. But some futures are worth building from scratch. So, Robert said, shall we talk about changing the world? I smiled. A real smile. The first one all night. Let's